Right, so today in the shop, we're still on the 2007 PT Cruiser. I don't know much about this car. I know the oil desperately needed to be changed when I bought it. So we're going to do a little tune-up on it, plugs, wires. Probably go ahead and change out the coil pack on it. And these goofy cars, you've got to remove this, either call it an intake or plenum or whatever you want to call it. I think it's technically a plenum. It's got 5 bolts that hold it on. Get them out of the way. They are kind of a inverted Torx type thing. Oh, they're a weird shape. I'm not sure what they are. But a 5/16 6-point socket. Took them out for me. And then you can remove this and get it up out of your way. Anyway, back to what I was trying to do before I was interrupted. You can get this moved up out of your way. That will let you get to your spark plugs and your coil pack and your wires. You just need to kind of watch out. There are reusable gaskets on the bottom side here that can fall out. And I'm going to get this kind of held up out of my way with something, and we'll work on getting those plugs out of there. Catch up in just a minute. Right, I've got that plenum held up with a piece of wire, so that won't go anywhere. And I've already got my spark plug wires pulled. Those were pretty simple. On these engines, your spark plugs go right down in the middle of your valve cover. Dual overhead cam. So got those pulled. They don't look horrible, but I'm going to go ahead and put all new plugs, wires, and the coil pack on. The coil pack is held on with 4 10mm bolts, and you've got this plug back here, if I can get to it. It's got a red locking tab that you pull toward the firewall, and then you push and pull off the coil. If I can get it off, there we go. And then take the last bolt out of my coil pack, maybe, and just take the whole coil pack and wires and all out of there. Alright, now look at the bottom of the coil here a little bit. It doesn't look too bad. I'm going to hang on to this whole mess just because that's the way I am, and you never know when you might need something, or my new junk may not be worth a crap. Who knows? Anyway, this is my new stuff. Ordered this whole kit off of eBay. It was like 80 bucks for plug wires, iridium plugs, and a coil pack. Iridium plugs are supposed to be really good plugs, so we'll see how they do. If I can get it to focus in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But anyway, there's the plugs. Here's the new wires. And then there's the new coil. And here are 3 of the 4 old plugs. And it's not uncommon for there to be oil around these plugs down in there. Odds are that valve cover is leaking. So I probably need to work on getting one of those and replace it before long. So, but I would say these plugs have been in there for quite some time. So I would say it's a good thing that we are changing them. You can see the electrode in the center on that one sticks up a little more than these other ones. So I would say she's definitely due for a tune-up. I got one more left. It's already loose. I just got to get, got to use a magnet because my socket didn't snag onto them good enough. And you definitely want to have, where this plenum mounts down, you want to put something over the top of that, because those holes go straight down into your head for the intake valves. So you do not want anything falling down in there. So be sure and get you something over the top of that. There's our 4th and final plug. Had champions in it, it looks like. So I am definitely glad that I spent a little money and got a tune-up kit for this thing. So let me work on getting the new stuff put back in, and we'll fire it up and see how it does. Right, got everything all put back together. Got 4 new plugs, 4 new plug wires, coil pack, and everything's all put back together. So the only thing left to do now is to fire it up and see if it runs good, and we'll take it down the road. Wow, I think that started a lot quicker. I think the engine sounds smoother. I think that was a tune-up that was way overdue. I didn't gap the new plugs because they come pre-gapped, and they had these little sleeves over them, so nothing could mess with the gap. So I didn't worry about gapping the new plugs. I did have to modify my spark plug socket. If you can see there, I kind of ground it down thinner down to the base. The new plugs, this metal shank isn't as tall on the new plugs, so the actual socket part set deeper in the head, and the thick wall of the socket would not allow it to go down in there and tighten the plug up. So I ground this down a little bit. I'll probably hit it a little more, and what I will do is I will leave this plug socket in the car, in the glove box, so that way the next person, or if I need it later on, they'll have it, because you will not be able to get those new plugs out with a standard socket because it's too thick walled. I've got a lug nut adapter in the glove box already, so I'll just stick this socket. I've got multiple of these. I'll grind it down probably a little more, a little deeper this way, and kind of true it up a little bit, and then I'll just throw it in the glove box, and that way it'll be there the next time it's needed. But other than that, I'm going to run this thing down the road, and we'll see how she does. Like I said, I'm going to keep my old coil pack and wires, because they may not have been too bad, but I would say those old plugs were shot. So anyhow, till the next one, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks.